Hello, welcome back to the L1 Link Show. And today is the 14th, and we're doing business and social. I said that kind of like a question because I almost forgot again.
Me too.
Well, not the last, but one of the last functional weeks of December.
Yeah.
It's all winding down.
Have you got your Christmas shopping done?
Kinda.
I'm like probably 85% done, which is good for me because usually I wait way too late to get all my stuff.
I would never suspect that about you. Well, spend it now, I guess, right? Because inflation is certainly eating away at your savings. That can make you feel good about your Christmas purchases, but this probably make you feel bad about your Christmas purchases.
BlackRock says, get ready for a recession unlike any other, and what worked in the past won't work now. BlackRock is a very large financial institution.
In fact, I think they are the most powerful company in the world, right?
Engagement challenge. Give us some reason why we shouldn't listen to them. Have their predictions been wildly wrong in the past when they weren't known as BlackRock?
Because they're not honest with us.
Well, we're all normal people, semi-normal people. Like, we've all seen how little spending power the dollar gets you now in terms of like buying groceries or anything.
That means we all have no power to turn this around.
Yeah.
But what they're talking about is monetizing debt, which is what we've been doing for 3 to 4 decades at this point. And this is the result of that, which is why it probably won't work to do it again.
It's my whole life.
This is like bloodletting. We've reached the end of the bloodletting.
Would you say that we've monetized debt to the point that the incoming generations are so obliquely encumbered that it's just a general feeling of depression?
Yeah, they keep saying the word recession. I feel like it's more depression, but
Well, the technical, like that has a technical definition.
Right.
We've not hit it yet. We have hit the recession one, but then it was changed.
yeah, then they were like, oh, it's not really a recession. I was like, I don't know.
That's how the world works now.
Well, here's hoping that things aren't super obliquely terrible for you wherever you are and whatever it is that you're doing. We're in this together. Join us at Patreon and Floodplane. Or just watch some ads. It's fine.
I don't know. I think there's at least one man who's not in it with us. I think maybe he kind of helped cause it.
FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried is said to face market manipulation inquiry. Yeah, you know, even if this was an Icarus story, I don't think he's going to be back down here with us plebs.
But this isn't even about the FTT debacle, although it is related to it. This is about the Terra Luna debacle, which now there is some suspicion he may have been behind. Because he would have reaped massive benefits from it if it had not toppled over the entire deck of cards. So that's not me saying that. That's the U.S. government.
Is this a tofu drag of the finance industry? Is that what's going on here? I don't understand.
I don't know that we have anything else in our finance industry, but like, you know, you went from tofu drag to just like sawdust and warm water as concrete
Inside the drag.
Yeah. And that was NFTs and crypto. So that's where we are now. And one man who really needs that to not completely go away is this man.
Coinbase's CEO Brian Armstrong thinks his company's revenue will fall at least another 50% as the entire crypto sector sees a major downturn.
It's an understatement.
What if this is a situation where, you know, the horse buggy is invented and then a guy Coinbase is the buggy whip industry, and for a brief 30 seconds, you know, it's a brilliant industry, and then now we have the automobile, and it's like, well, we don't need buggy whips anymore. So it's like, no, I'm still relevant. Because what would we use Coinbase for?
I think you're just
NFTs?
describing regular jobs too.
Well, the FTX debacle is still rippling through the crypto world, and what that causes is multiple owners on the same asset. You see, when you do something like monetizing debt, you have the original debt, now you have a new debt. Who owns the underlying asset if there's more than one owner?
Crypto exchange Gemini trying to recover $900 million from crypto lender Genesis, the Financial Times reports. Now, remember, we reported, was it last week or the week before? We kind of reported on this. And it's like, oh, there may be something of value here.
Yeah.
It's like, uh-oh, there's two large creditors.
What we reported on is they shut down redemptions.
Yeah.
which is always worrying. They'll always tell you that things are fine. We just need to do some paperwork, so it'll be fine. It almost never is.
I feel like that could be just the whole tagline of the show sometimes. It never is fine.
Oh, even when it is fine, they work to make it not fine. Like the Sears collapse is just incredible. Like Sears owned all of their stores and everything, and it's like, why would you ever sell that or do anything with it? And then why would you put yourself in a position to then monetize the debt back to your store or sell the thing, and then it's like, oh look, we're renting it, and now it's what sort of crazy voodoo is this?
It's incredible to me that Sears hasn't failed sooner, more than anything. Like, why is Sears still around?
They had enough money that they could have tackled Amazon. They could have bought Amazon in the beginning.
Well, that's like that crypto business we talked about last week where they actually had more money than their market cap.
Yeah.
Like, they have money, but the market is convinced that they are so pointless and so of no value, they still won't buy their stock, which is probably pretty smart, honestly. If you were in Ireland and you've had too much and you need to just like take some time for yourself, well, Intel might be a great place for you to work, or I should say not work for a while.
Intel offers Irish staff a 3-month break from being paid. Now, there have actually been some people in Ireland that work for Intel that reached out to us before in the past. Are you still watching? Are you still hanging out?
Are you taking a sabbatical right now?
Engagement challenge. How are things? Because it seems like they're kind of bleak.
I mean, in theory, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I could see anyone who actually does this as just being like, we're going to quietly get rid of them at the end of the 3 months.
Yeah. And also, why wouldn't Intel do this a little bit in a more controlled fashion? It's like, hey, we're going to keep all of our Irish staff. Why don't we go to 4-day work weeks? How does that sound to everybody? Because that would be way better than we're going to have you not work for 3 months.
Well, I think 4-day work week, the argument is you still get paid the same.
Yeah, they're not going to be paid for the 3 months they're off.
Yeah, they're cutting costs here. But I think Chris is right. I think at the end of that 3 months, they're going to be like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it during the
Situations
holidays. They don't want that press.
That's also how Twitter should have done it, because then it's like, oh, it turns out you are important. You can stay.
Plus, your badge is turned off. Your parking space has been recycled. Like,
You've probably already cleared most of your office stuff out.
because you're probably sharing offices anyway.
Even if you had stuff to work on, that would be like a really distracting noisemaker in your head. It's just like, it's like, no, I have to finish this.
And Google, week after week, they keep giving us more headlines about the steps that they're taking to shave down their staff.
Google Maps and Waze teams to merge. Apps will remain separate. I think it was a comment on Hacker News or maybe Reddit of somebody that was merging the teams in. They had some colorful words to describe what was happening. He's like, we showed up at work and we were like, go here and do this. And then he's like, but half of my team is remote and I guess they're going to have to move or something. I don't know.
But there's a contentious break room.
Yeah.
You quickly learn who's team Waze and who's team Maps. There's a social hierarchy. Well, Microsoft is desperate for this merger. It seems like for now, the answer is no. Ms. Khan has said no to this. But before that, they were making all kinds of concessions.
Microsoft reaches a 10-year deal with Nintendo for Call of Duty. They're committing to keep Call of Duty on Steam as well, because it puts pressure on Sony to accept a similar 10-year deal. Gosh, you got to wonder how this... I would love to have a recording of this phone call. Like, somebody at Microsoft calls Nintendo and says, hey, we know you want this intellectual property. We're basically going to use this as a prop in our acquisition thing for Activision, so don't make any noise for us, and we will basically give you this for $1.
There's no way the Switch can run Call of Duty, right?
No. Well,
so
maybe
what would they do?
They could do it at like 720p, but again, it's a different audience. It's a different thing. Plus, we don't know what's coming after this.
You can't let them cross-play.
Overwatch plays on the Switch.
Yeah, but Overwatch is like a super optimized.
It is optimized. Yeah, I don't know if Call of Duty would be.
And how many years ago did Overwatch come out?
2016, yeah.
So. And Apple is making some changes to the App Store, maybe to try and wriggle out from under the heel of Miss Khan. I don't know. But this is interesting because I didn't realize you couldn't set your own price on the App Store. You have to choose from a drop-down.
Apple loosens grip on the App Store pricing with 700 new price points.
It's a big drop-down.
That's a total of 900 options with support for prices that don't end at 99 cents. The lowest price on the App Store, 30 cents.
It's a lot of scrolling to get the one you want. It's not an auto complete at all. Like, you can't use the keyboard.
That's wild. You can also do new subscriptions for 32 cents, which, like, once they take the fee and you do the credit card fee, is there any money changing hands there? Well, you got to give it to the Linux aficionados. They will doggedly try to put Linux on literally everything. And they've done a big one. This is one that a lot of people are looking out for. Unfortunately, like most Linux solutions, it is, when it comes to display drivers, buggy and horrible.
4-person dev team gets Apple's M series GPU working in Linux.
By working, they mean like 2 games.
But it's something.
It's something.
If you want to play those 2 games.
They did that without any driver documentation or anything that you should have when you're doing this kind of thing, which is horrifying.
And this headline is perhaps poorly timed considering the whole antitrust discussion. I don't think that you should press release this on the eve of getting turned down for the other merger.
Microsoft eyes quote-unquote super app to break Apple and Google's hold on mobile search.
This photo, it has a real like unhinged kind of energy.
They should have photoshopped a globe into his hands.
Yeah.
The way that the exchange here was described makes me think of the underwear gnomes from South Park. It's like, all right, step 1 is we need the super app, and then people will use our platform.
What does a super app do?
What is a super app? Actually, Mr. Musk has talked about the super app.
Oh,
he
right.
wants App Store, news, weather,
Advertising is entertainment.
social. They're taking the walled garden to the next step of like, we do everything you want. You never have to go out to the other internet. You want to read news? We'll bring that news in. You want to search the web? You'll search within our ecosystem.
Only Apple could pull that off.
I mean, Apple tried. And
They're
didn't
all
get-
trying to do it.
But Apple's the closest, and it's not anywhere close to what they're describing here,
Yeah.
which is just horrific.
Dystopian.
But you know what that means? That means the end of Microsoft Windows as we know it, right? Because they'll try to force us into this.
Yeah.
Better pray for those Linux display drivers.
I ask all the time, like, what are you looking forward to? And then, we hear story after story like that. It's like, oh, there's not really a lot, is there?
I think we're getting close to the point where the most common answer to that is death.
No. Not quite there.
We want everything to be just
Not the way it is.
yeah, and just an awful. You
Monetized.
you will own nothing and be happy. That's the next thing. Like after you've monetized the debt, is that you can't own anything.
Well, you won't own these, but it'll cost you $10 more to get them.
Microsoft to raise Xbox first-party games from $60 to $70 in 2023. Microsoft is joining Sony, Ubisoft, and others with Xbox game studios priced at $69.99 next month.
Just means I probably won't be buying a lot of fancy games. I don't know. I don't think I've spent $60 on a game in a long time.
Get the Game Pass.
I
And play
think-
all of Microsoft's games.
I think the only game I ever spent $60 on was GTA, maybe.
I paid the full, well, I got a coupon, I think like a 15% coupon. I paid full price for Elden Ring,
When it came out.
which was dumb because I never finished it. The hype train got me. I'm sorry.
Did you, you said you never finished, but did you enjoy it while you played it?
It was, yeah. I mean, I like the From Software
Yeah.
formula, but it's just so much. You really got to invest yourself in it.
Yeah.
Speaking of hype games, I had a real strong urge to get Choo Choo Charlie. I resisted it. I might not for the rest of the day.
For this.
And Google, again, they just are cutting everything.
Google shuts down Duplex on the web. Its attempt to bring AI smarts to retail sites and more. Remember the demo? Remember from Google I/O? Man, I wish we had Jamie to pull up the thing that we said on that, which was this is never actually going to be let out of the Google labs because we were right.
And Google shuts down projects left, right, and center.
I mean, they had the call where it's like, I need to make an appointment at like 4 p.m. And it's like, oh, the person, interacts with the AI just like it's a real thing. And no.
But what's funny about that is Duplex was sort of sold to us as a way to cut through the horror of the red tape of dealing with major corporations who are faceless and evil. So what Google is going to do now is take that technology and sell it to the faceless corporations who are evil and let them use it against us. So now it'll be even harder to get somebody on the phone because who you'll be getting on the phone is a duplex operator. And Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, they have had a little bit of a wave of this going on. These are very, very small offices doing this, but if you get enough of them.
Workers at Diablo and the Warcraft developer Blizzard Albany have won a union. And when those workers showed up at the Video Game Awards last night, they were turned away if they had the pin on, or they had to throw away the pin.
Their security just airtight for that, but for the guy who just ran up on stage during the game of the year, no security at all.
This was actually the quality assurance team, meaning the game testers, which I guarantee you they did not get tickets to the Game Awards.
Yeah. One of the speeches, someone actually mentioned QA, and I was like, oh, look at that.
They probably had to remind them like 6 times before they gave the speech. Like, don't forget the
Don't
QA.
forget.
They're unionizing.
I love those QA reports where it's like, this still doesn't have any text in it. And it's like, yeah, no one's entered the text. It's not, that's your job.
And Apple, I guess they are different enough in this attempt from what Zuckerberg has done that maybe they'll get some traction, but boy, it just feels like more metaverse, more failure.
Apple now calling AR VR headset operating system xrOS. And then there's this picture which may or may not have anything to do with Apple's VR headset.
Can you imagine
It just
wearing
looks like
that?
a pair of goggles.
Yeah.
Like, I think I had those swim goggles when I was 12.
Rich people skiing might get that.
Yeah.
And then they're going to run into stuff because they're trying to watch TV while they're skiing.
Got to multitask. You got to keep your mind going all the time so you can shut out the darkness.
I kind of feel like that. I can never enjoy just one thing at a time anymore. And that makes it hard for me to stream video content because I'll constantly get distracted and go and do something else and then lose track of what I'm watching because it's all so terrible. But we have a new number 1 in the terrible list.
Prime Video replaces Netflix as the number 1 streaming service in the U.S., according to longtime industry tracker Parks Associates. Peacock cracks the top 10. So a lot of people on Prime Video are watching like the garbage tier old TV that Prime just added for free that for some reason you can't get on Netflix because they're dumb.
You can also rent a ton of crap on Prime Video. Like, that's a big thing. You look up a title and it's like, you can rent this.
Yeah.
Whereas other places don't have it at all.
They touted Rings of Power as a big motivator here. But they won't release numbers.
They won't. And someone else pointed out, and I don't know how true this is because I'm sure they have a way to differentiate these kind of things, but on the Prime homepage for a little while, it auto-played. Do you think they were counting those as views?
Oh, absolutely.
Interesting, yeah.
Just watch this first episode and you'll be hooked.
Well, and then there was another promotion that ran in Brazil that was like, if you watch one episode of Rings of Power, you get a free meal through like their version of Grubhub. And it's like, that seems like maybe you're really asking people to watch your show and people aren't watching it.
Just like giving us food in exchange for watching ads feels like where this is ending, right?
Well, I was watching the Game Awards the other night just because I wanted the chance of getting a Steam Deck, and I was like, this is a little dystopian, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, replace the Steam Deck with like broccoli.
Something, you actually need to live. Yeah.
You can get a bag of potatoes if you watch so-and-so stream tonight.
Ugh.
And Telegram is also trying to scrape up some money any way that they can. In this case, by not tracking you. You can opt out of tracking by paying.
Telegram is auctioning phone numbers to let users sign up to the service without any SIM.
They already did this with usernames. Now you do it with a phone number for your telephone. And Apple apparently has a good enough AI for eliminating the voice track in music that they're willing to let you play with it.
Apple Music is getting a karaoke mode. So it just uses AI to take the voice out, and then you can sing over top of it.
You can actually adjust the volume of the main voice to depending on how much help you need.
I was gonna say, isn't the joy of karaoke is that, you kind of let the real singer mask your horrible voice a little bit?
But professional karaoke has different tracks because they're not allowed to play those in public. So they actually make their own
Version.
voiceless, yeah, but still with background. Also, they say that you can even like dial up and down the background voices in this technology. It's good enough to do that. The old stuff that used to do that gave it sort of like that warbly underwater sound. I wonder if they've gotten around that.
Oh, yeah. Probably not. Not for every song, surely.
Remember, didn't Atari do a new console recently.
The one based on Android too.
Did it do nothing?
Yeah, it was bad.
I guess they're still grasping at straws here. They're like, we had something once. Please, nostalgia.
Atari revives unreleased arcade game that was just too darn hard for 1982 players. It's Akara.
I don't know how you pronounce that. There was a trackball. You ever play any of the trackball Centipede cabinets?
It was not fun.
It was rough. And those trackballs were in like nasty shape by the time I got to them in the 90s.
The one at Pizza Hut was especially terrible because you imagine that somebody was eating a pizza with one hand and then switching hands and the pizza grease went. It was very bad.
Oh, do you remember going to Pizza Hut in like the 90s and like they had the salad bar and the arcade machines?
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut always had Mortal Kombat.
I was worried that something was really wrong because I was smelling the burned cheese on the Pizza Hut cheese sticks from, it's just a memory from a million years ago, but it was like, is that a stroke? No, it's just the Pizza Hut cheese sticks. It's fine.
You mean you got some Pizza Hut cheese sticks?
Someone was making some mozzarella cheese sticks and it was that same smell.
Okay.
It was like the same combination of smells. And I was like, that's Pizza Hut.
Memory unlocked.
Yeah, it wasn't Pizza Hut, but it was, I miss those. I miss those cheese sticks.
But the modern Pizza Hut cheese sticks are not.
Yeah.
They don't smell anything like that.
The Pizza Hut stores are nothing like that anymore either.
Yeah. They haven't been good in like 10 years.
Man, I really would love some pizza right now though.
Have you eaten today?
No.
No.
But I haven't had the only pizza I've had is California Pizza Kitchen. That's the only.
Oh, because it doesn't have any poofas?
Right.
All right.
You would think that like Papa John's, better ingredient, better pizza, would use olive oil, soybean.
You'd think they would use his sweat as much as it like pours off of him.
Well, apparently he sweats soybean oil. That's what they use. The hot game release this week. It seemed like there was a lot of hype here, but I wonder how many people actually kept stuck with it after they bought it. Also,
there was a lot of hype, but also people were like, "Ugh, there's a tile set. Like it's got artwork."
Also, $30. Now I'll admit, I've gotten way more than $30 from these guys. I paid it happily, but that is a steep price for what they're selling.
Dwarf Fortress's graphical update provides a new way into a wildly wonky game. The cryptic game's new interface welcomes newcomers, but preserves the chaos. So walk us through Dwarf Fortress.
You played a lot this week.
I'm gonna upset some people here. I don't like this at all.
You always played though with
I can use the regular interface.
Yeah.
And it's so different that you can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's like relearn most of it. Some of the hotkeys are still there. Also, during the tutorial, I was just jamming hotkeys. I'm like, bros, they took away. I was streaming on Twitch and I was like, they took away all the hotkeys. What's happened? Nothing works. They gate the hotkeys to the
until
end
you finish.
But my biggest complaint about it is I felt like there was a little bit of lag in the input. Like the great thing about Dwarf Fortress is you can just when you get good at it, you're just, it's nothing but keyboard. You're jumping around quickly. It sucks for Twitch streaming because they're just watching like a slideshow.
Yeah. I've watched you play before the graphic update. I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
But with the mouse and stuff, I felt like it was lethargic. Sometimes I'd have to click twice. I hate that. And so maybe they can tighten that up, but I don't know. I think I'll stick with the graphical version or the non-graphical version.
I bet you that they give you a launcher option or something that's like a launch in classic mode, and
I think they're going to keep them separate.
I wonder if there's somebody helping them do that.
Yeah. There's another dev team that's working on the.
Gabe came in. It's like I'm really like Dwarf Fortress. Let's do this.
It is a great though. Like I played for 4 or 5 hours, and even in the tutorial stage, they added this new thing where your people create artifacts, and if the news of your artifacts gets out into the rest of the world, someone will come and steal them. Oh. And one of the babies in my fort told a human visitor about one of my artifacts, and there was a thief there the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't have an army yet, so a man died, or the dwarf died, and a man died.
That baby probably felt a lot of guilt.
You got the thief as he was trying to escape.
No, once he had it, he was just like, "Hey, you don't have a military," so he was, attacking my people. It was a real prick.
Wow.
Well, Amazon Luna has a new feature, and unfortunately, of all the little independent game stores, Epic, they give me free games every week. I'll tolerate them. Microsoft, they got a great subscription. I'll tolerate them. Steam, obviously, you have to have. Ubisoft, I got no room for you on my hard drive.
Amazon Luna can now play games you own on PC. No channel subscriptions required, except for Amazon Prime. You have to be subscribed to Amazon Prime.
And it's only Ubisoft.
Yeah. And this seems like a better deal than Google got. Remember, Google was giving money to people. I guess that's why Stadia is shutting down.
And you have to join your account to your Amazon account so they can data mine it. In both ways, probably.
Yeah, and then they also integrate it with Twitch, I'm sure, eventually, if you want drops and stuff like that.
And Fortnite, wow, is Fortnite still as hot as it once was?
I think it's still
Yeah.
pretty popular, yeah.
It's still super popular.
Well, if you were in Quebec, you might want to get all your Fortnite in right now, because I have a feeling they're going to go after it real hard in this approach.
Quebec class action lawsuit alleging Fortnite is addictive will go ahead, a judge has ruled.
So they obviously wanted this tossed out on the grounds that it was meritless. He found some merit. I assume it's a he. I don't know. They say it's addictive and like the V-Bucks are manipulative, but that's not unique. to
No,
Fortnite.
you'd have to start chasing everybody, which
you have to-
is probably fair, but
Do you have to go all the way back to Counter-Strike and shut that down too? Moving on to some hardware. AMD and Intel have recently butted heads talking about Moore's Law. Is it alive or is it dead? AMD is laying out the details in their argument.
AMD says the transistor tech will keep Moore's Law alive for another 6 to 8 years. We're going to have lower power, but it's going to cost more, says the chipmaker's CTO.
That's a safe bet, right?
Yeah.
They
As long
also,
as it's not more per transistor.
they also defended the chiplets, which they seem to have been vindicated on since Intel's now doing it. And the old PCI connectors that NVIDIA has been haunted by, they are, one of NVIDIA's defenses was, hey bro, we didn't set the standards. Well, the people who did set the standards had some stuff to say about that.
The PCI standards group, Deflects, assigns blame for melting GPU power connectors. Members are responsible for safety testing of their products. So, and saying, hey, we designed this connector. It can carry the power under normal circumstances. Whatever NVIDIA is doing, it must be them, or maybe it's on customers for not installing it correctly. Who knows? But it's not us, because we did the connector properly. Okay. Sounds good.
Now, how do you guys feel about obnoxiously large watches?
Not great.
When I see
I
somebody,
can't wear a normal watch, so
but I'm not talking about for me. When I meet somebody and they have a giant watch or like a smartwatch or whatever, I judge them.
I don't even like wearing this one.
But I mean,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you're trying to
Monitor
save
your
your
health.
digestive system.
yeah.
But even that's not too. I mean, compare that to this.
Yeah, that is sort of large.
And
Yeah, it feels like it's trying to be a wealth flex.
this one has to be large and deep too. This one has to be ridiculously big.
Huawei's latest smartwatch has a secret inside, a pair of wireless earbuds.
There's a whole sparrow inside.
The great thing about this is when you inevitably lose those earbuds because they're tiny and you're going to lose them, you can just put M&Ms in there.
Not anymore.
Could you put? You might be able to fit. Go back to the image there.
Maybe you could put some chickpeas in there.
You might be able to fit like one M&M between the earbuds, an emergency M&M.
A tiny, 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 tiny piece of naan and some hummus.
You smash up an M&M and scrape the dust in there. And then when you get desperate, you snort it.
And you got to put your earbuds in. It's just covered in candy shell.
And SpaceX, you know, that one business that Elon has that's actually good that he's probably ignoring now, it's doing a new thing.
SpaceX unveils Star Shield, a military variation of Starlink satellites. These are Starlink satellites that just have upgraded encryption, but also because it's so easy for Musk to deploy these, he's basically going to world governments and saying, would you like your own private Starlink networks that can talk to each other and they're just your own satellites that you own? I can put them in orbit for you.
He's going to the U.S. government. And like, I heard you guys are redoing your budgets for next year.
But he's offering full spectrum satellite. He's going to build it. He's going to test it. He's going to put your software on it. He's going to launch it. And then he's going to give you the substations.
I heard that part of this, I don't know if this is true or not, it's completely unsubstantiated, but I heard part of the presentation for this is also a really good technical breakdown of all of the stuff the Russians were doing to try to jam Starlink, and all of the stuff that their people did to get around the jamming by just frequency hopping and using different spectrum and blah, blah, blah.
Do you think they got any countermeasures, like physical countermeasures on board that they won't tell us about?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it had to do with like directional signal rejection. It's like, oh, even though this is on the spectrum that we use, it's coming from that way, so we won't use those antennas. We'll only use the ones that are coming from above. And then it's like, boom, there goes the interference. They're gone.
And then we have a major earthquake that reshapes the earth.
Oh.
Well, normally I would just ignore this kind of stuff, but considering these uncertain times that we're going into, you might need to get some entertainment for $0.
Upgrades in free over-the-air TV are making it better. I'll have to try this for Mom. She's got OTA and streaming, and that's all she's got.
So this is DTV was a new standard, and all the cable companies or all the broadcast companies had to adhere to it. This is not. This is voluntary, but they named all the big networks who are on board with this. It might not be in your area, so you should look out for that. But if it is, free TV. Ad supported, like it always was. And Amazon, we saw, who joined the other open network? That was also Amazon, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, they're all about
the Open Invention Network.
That was the networking open standard.
Oh, it was the telecommunications one.
But they are also joining this one.
Amazon joins Open Invention Network. AWS puts its patents behind open source and Linux patent guard OIN. So where I see this going is Amazon will be your one-stop shop for 3D printing. I think when we first started doing the Level 1 news, we got off on some tangent, and we talked about, the Walmart that just 3D prints all your stuff. Like you can get you download an IKEA thing, you queue it up online, and then Walmart says your widget's ready for pickup because they 3D printed it out of fake wood and whatever, and you get IKEA quality furniture. It seems like Amazon is heading in that direction quickly.
But this also covers software, so everything that's going on with like AWS and all that, they have a reason to. This way, they can kind of like keep it growing, but also keep a hand on it.
Yeah, they were kind of already doing some of this with books, because remember they have the book printers. They don't even stock books being in stock at a lot of their warehouses. It's just like, oh, we had a bunch of people order books, and they just print them on demand.
Were you guys aware of tipping Amazon drivers?
I think they just did that for Christmas. I saw some people talking about it.
It can't be, because this happened previously. Like they're in trouble for this, but I don't remember ever having an opportunity to do this. Or do they have to declare cash tips or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
DC Attorney General sues Amazon for allegedly misusing driver tips.
I thought this was a new feature, because I've seen at least 2 or 3 of my friends mention oh, you can tip your Amazon driver now.
The unions negotiated on this, or the driver companies or whatever, and they sold them. They were like, here, you're going to get this much per hour, plus you're going to keep all the tips that you get. Then later, they were like, oh, profits down, cost of drivers is going way up. We're going to take some of those tips. But they didn't tell anybody about that.
Can we just not do tips and just pay them what they're worth?
It seems like a better, but I feel like they would screw us pretty hard on the pricing. I mean, they're going to bake it in. Maybe that's still better. But they do have the new thing that you're talking about, which is you can thank your driver.
Yeah.
And give them $5, which is a lot.
Yeah,
I could see giving them like $1.
I'm not opposed to. For me, as someone who struggles with human interaction, I never know when to tip. Like, what industries are you supposed to tip in? Like, restaurants is pretty common, but is drivers common? I've heard of doing your mailman. And then with Rue a few months ago, I took her to get her groomed, and I thought you were supposed to tip the groomer, and I tried to groom the lady. I tried to.
I could see how she would not be.
Not be receptive to that. Now I tried to give her a tip, and she was like, she texted me as soon as I left and was like, "Oh, you left too much money," and I was like, "No, I'm tipping you." She's like, "Oh, you don't have to tip," and I was like,
"Oops."
Look at this. CNN Business and Gizmodo on 2 different Amazon stories use the exact same
photo.
It's not a photo.
Oh,
it's a video. That's weird, huh?
Huh.
Anyway, Amazon also has a new offer for you if you really need money. they're going to give you tiny, tiny amounts of it. And in exchange, you're going to give them all of your information.
Amazon will pay you $2 a month to monitor your phone traffic. That seems low.
Yeah, that's very, no thanks.
They'll bump that up to 10 if you submit enough receipts to them to prove that what you've been buying outside of Amazon, so they can figure out how to get you to buy that from Amazon.
No thanks. Sorry.
Honestly, like if you're on the Kroger discount card thing, you're already doing
Oh,
it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And remember the iPhone SOS satellite thing? You had to ask yourself, how long will this take to pay off?
Apple.
Oh, did I say
Can't read
Amazon?
that.
I might have said Amazon.
Apple's iPhone 14 emergency SOS via satellite feature saves stranded man in Alaska.
I often watch some of those Alaska documentaries, and they snowmobile everywhere.
Right.
And I often wonder, how often do those things break down?
Frequently.
So what happened to this guy?
Yeah. I watched, there was an episode of Survivor Man with Stroud, and he did an episode where he was in the Arctic, and the scenario he did was that the snowmobile broke down, and he was like, you wouldn't think like it would happen that often, but he said everyone he talked to in the little village before he came out was like, oh no, they break down all the time.
It's just turning a belt.
Yeah.
You would think that they could make that better. I
But
guess,
it's tough terrain too, though.
I guess
Like rocks
motorcycles.
and ice and yeah.
Motorcycles are just turning a chain, right?
Oh.
They also break down. Well, here's a Wall Street Journal paywall alternative where they just reprint the Wall Street Journal. I love you, Mint. That is saying what has been just shockingly obvious to all observers for the last month or two.
Apple makes plans to move production out of China. The Wall Street Journal article. There was a thing in Arizona. TSMC's opening up. Apple was there. Tim Cook was there.
I don't think that's where they're taking the iPhone.
No, they're going to go someplace like Vietnam, which is cheaper.
I think India probably is what they're looking at right now.
There are some people that think Intel is doing some stuff in Arizona, and it's just like, okay, but what about Ohio? It doesn't seem right.
And moving on to social. Wait, Ohio doesn't seem right. Why not?
No, Arizona.
Oh, because
Like the production. It's like, yeah, Intel's going to do production for Apple. It's like, I don't think so.
yeah. Let's
I think Intel immolated that bridge pretty good.
let's take Ohio's water instead. So much fresher, more delicious.
There's actually water there, though.
If you recall, Meta, they got some controversy because they were doing behavioral ads, meaning they were targeting advertising based on the things that you like and the things that you do. In some cases, things you might not want other people to know that you're doing, like getting pregnant. Well, that was wrong, and the wheels of justice turned slowly.
Meta's behavioral ads will finally face GDPR privacy reckoning in January.
Just in time for Zuck to leave.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's one of the things they'll use to help push him out. We should get some astonishing discovery from this, though, right? They'll have to show all of the metrics that they used.
It's going to be amazing.
So stay tuned for that. And Meta, this already played out in Australia. I imagine it'll be very similar how it plays out here. They're doing the exact same playbook.
Meta threatens to pull news from Facebook if Congress passes media bill. Okay.
So
ahead.
news organizations want to bargain for the free clicks that they get from Facebook. I don't know. I mean, I'm anti-Facebook, but that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't want to be part of a search engine. Like, why?
If it's like what we do, where it's like, here's a headline and here's a link where you can go read it more, that's fine. But if Facebook is doing something more than that, more than like the little embed box or the search box, or like taking the contents of the article and like resummarizing or something, then okay, maybe. But I don't think that's what they're doing.
That's not, no, it's always just like, here's a summary and a photo, and then you click on it.
The news organizations always make it sound like, there's some kind of machine learning that's condensing the article, and that's not usually what's actually happening.
It's usually pulling something directly that they supply using their SEO.
But the problem is the news organizations don't offer a product that anybody really is willing to pay for. So how do you get around that? You make Facebook pay you. I hope they lose. I'm pro Facebook on this one. And this is so hilarious because obviously the metaverse is going to be scrutinized very heavily in terms of the horrors that they have already done with Facebook, right? Like, we're going to look at all the things that they did with Facebook and be like, you can't do this in the metaverse, which will crush it commercially, which is why Mr. Zuckerberg is trying to get ahead of it.
Meta asks policymakers to take a hands-off approach to metaverse regulation.
He
You're gonna
says,
let it bloom first. Don't crush it.
he says if you let it bloom, in 10 years, you'll have a $3 trillion industry. I know right now it seems like no one's using it, but trust me, bro, in a decade, it's going to be all the money in the world if you don't do anything now, if you just leave it alone. Let it gestate.
I don't trust it.
You know what else I don't trust? Hey, if you want this documentation, just head over to the Discord. Oh, I hate you. I hate you for doing that. Every I was trying to get some information about like a new indie game I was playing. Oh, just go to the Discord.
I'm not joining your Discord just so I can read one little like paragraph.
So now let me just multiply that horror. Instead of join the Discord, join the Teams community. Now you need a Microsoft account.
Microsoft Teams adds free communities feature to take on Facebook and Discord. Listen, if Teams were as fast and responsive as Discord at just its primary job, it would take over the universe.
Have you ever tried searching Teams?
Yeah.
Oh my
it's just
gosh.
So awful. Also, I've used Discord a while, and usually I'd get my Discord messages when they're sent and not 4 hours later on my phone.
Oh my gosh. That's another thing that drives me nuts. Oh, I'm sorry. I would have responded to that if I got it. Yeah. I got like 2 days later, I got a message like, hey, I'm getting my truck worked on. When I was like messaging you about titles,
right, yeah.
I saw it later, but like 2 days later.
Because I sent it from my phone from
Yeah.
an area that didn't have good coverage. And I was outside my Wi-Fi. So it was just like, I never sent
I'll
it.
send out whenever I feel like it.
Also, brand new tires on my truck, Krista. How many headlights does yours have that's currently working? How many years has that been the case?
Like at least 3 or 4, yeah.
Some people in the comments were like, I can't believe you not have inspections. We're in Kentucky.
Well, and I don't drive that car as much anymore either.
And Winamp. Remember Winamp? It what was the phrase that whips the llama's ass? I don't know why they said that, but it was real popular. It was a great MP3 player. Now we've sort of moved on past that, unfortunately, and they're trying to come back in the worst possible way.
New Winamp update adds features, fixes, and size support for music NFTs. Oh, they didn't get the memo that NFTs aren't a thing. It's like, well, we already did all this work. We might as well.
There was a comment from one of the guys who's like, don't complain about NFTs in this thread.
It's almost like everybody hates them. And I suppose the Twitter exodus continues because the fringe communication protocols keep getting new users.
Telegram Premium tops 1 million subscribers. That's weird. You should go give Signal money. Signal's probably safe if you're not Pablo Escobar levels of criminal.
Didn't we just have a Telegram story last week about how they got hacked or lost everything?
Yeah.
Or something?
How they law enforcement showed up and was like, here, turn over everything.
Oh,
And it's
that's
like,
right. And they were like, here you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want- give me 10 minutes to tie a bow on it because we already had it ready for you.
I also have some warm cookies in the oven for your cops down at the station.
Would you like a foot rub? And this one is a little bit convoluted, but once it all plays out, as usual, it's YouTube is impenetrable and horrible.
Torrent Free says company has hijacked Blender's CC by licensed film, and YouTube has, struck a user for having it posted on their YouTube channel. And this is because some random company was like, no, we own that. And YouTube said, well, they say they own it. Sorry, there's nothing we can do.
And the person was like, no, here's all the documentation of me making it. And they're like, nah, you didn't make it.
So Blender gives you sample videos to use in your own projects that are totally free. You can use them, change
CC
them.
by
Yeah,
license.
recreate them. Remix them.
So this other place did that. They used one of these videos in one of their videos, which was fine. You can use it. But then this guy was doing automatic closed captioning, and he was just practicing his AI closed captioning or something like that on a Blender video and posted it. And the other people who had previously used it were like, no, that's ours.
I made this.
He counterclaimed, and YouTube was like, well, you can counterclaim, but they've not accepted that, so we have to give them your identity. So some horrible, patent troll company, copyright troll company got his personal information.
And then finally, after millions of people were like, stop being stupid, he went through multiple appeals with YouTube to be like, you're getting this horribly wrong. And they're like, we don't care.
But he got news organizations and big users on Twitter That's how you communicate with YouTube. Step one for communicating with YouTube is become famous or find someone who is.
Yeah.
Have money. Step 2, don't not have money.
And Mozilla, unfortunately, like everybody else, I don't know why they're doing it. And based on this screenshot, apparently they're going further than Facebook. They're cutting off the entire torso.
Mozilla acquires Active Replica to build on its metaverse vision.
It's claymation. It looks a little claymation.
That actually would be kind of good.
That would be fun.
An AI algorithm that automatically converts your webcam video to claymation. That would be an impressive AI.
So yeah, they're doing it. They got their own vision like everybody else does. Ugh. And this one's too hot, but we're going to do it anyway because this is a big news story. And the bigger story is the unified front that every news organization, including Wired, put to try and downplay this. It is astonishing to me.
I saw it everywhere. I don't know.
But all the articles were like, yeah, well, this is just stuff we already knew.
The Twitter files revealed one thing. Elon Musk is trapped.
Right. They revealed a lot more than that. They revealed a lot of things that you could talk about other than that, but Wired doesn't feel like talking about those things. And I'm not going to talk about them either because we'll get demonetized. Go read the Twitter files for yourself. Also, the attacks on Matt Taibbi. Matt Taibbi, first of all, is a lefty, unapologetically. And second of all, has an amazing track record of going after government corruption and those in power. And all of a sudden, he's in league with Elon Musk and obviously on the wrong side now.
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting.
I do have to say I kind of enjoy watching Elon Musk struggle to moderate because it's a cesspool. There's no winning.
You can enjoy Musk's suffering and still recognize what Twitter was before he was there. You don't have to join one side or the other.
Oh, right. But yeah.
Anyway, also we got more Twitter files. This was just part 1. Now we're up to part 3. Turns out that, the government just was able to request whatever they wanted.
Is that surprising considering the contents of this program every week?
No, but what's surprising is how they denied it. Especially after the laptop. We'll just say the laptop. Maybe that'll save us. But the denials they made about the laptop, one after another, have all been proven false here. And the collusion has been proven.
Right.
And it's just crickets. Nobody cares. And that's social media.
But we got Friday nonsense.
Yeah. Let's go look at some satellites in the NASA section. Also, all our topsoil's blowing away. See you then. Bye.